This episode of the Coarse Grind Podcast has been sponsored in part by Irving Cliff Brewery. If you're in Northeast Pennsylvania and you're looking for some of the finest craft beer around, look no further than the Irving Cliff Brewery, located at 2 Chapel Street in lovely historic Honesdale. With an attention to detail that feels high-end and small-town comfort, Irving Cliff Brewery does beer, and they do it very, very well. Irving Cliff Brewery, 2 Chapel Street, Honesdale, PA 18431. Now on to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is episode number 37 of the Coarse Grind Podcast. With you as always, host, creator, and, I don't know, old man. I'm feeling old today. Allergies got me feeling old. Sean Rossler, with you as always. Nice to see you. Glad to have you. If you're new, welcome. We love new people here. This is episode number 37, as mentioned before. You know, doing the show as often as I do, and I'm actually about to surpass my age in episodes. Not tonight, mind you, but still, it's getting there, so it's kind of freaky for me. You tend to run out of new angles. It's not that I necessarily need one. Those of you who listen seem to like it just fine from everything I've read, or you're lying to me, which is fine too. My wife does that all the time. Oh, it's fine, honey. But it helps to not only keep your interest, but my own, when I can freshen things up. And, you know, as luck would have it, one of my former guests, the food truck force, Keith Breedlove, led me like a little bird with breadcrumbs to tonight's guest, and I'm damn glad he did. You know, tonight's guest isn't exactly who you would consider the typical culinary podcast guest, but that is exactly what makes her so absolutely intriguing to me. She proved her gift for business mastery at a young age, receiving national awards as a teen to growing 6- and 7-figure businesses in her 20s. I was getting high in my early 20s. Sorry, Mom. From this experience, our guest learned what happens when entrepreneurs buy into industry standards and follow the majority. They get the results of the majority. And really, who wants that? She decided to change that. Tell this girl not to do something or why it can't be done, and she will make it happen. Her hashtag fuck the status quo mentality, which if she doesn't make a shirt out of that, I will. Behind the hashtag renegade movement is grounded by her passion for annihilating limiting circumstances so entrepreneurs can grow companies that allow a life by design. Because of this, our guest focuses her time working with high-risk and low-margin food truck and restaurant businesses. She was recently dubbed, quote, the food truck whisperer. Love the title. Want to hear more about it. For helping truckers break free of the industry's catch-22, where they are overworked, underpaid, and totally consumed. She gives her clients the proven formula to scale highly profitable businesses that they have full control over so they can have the freedom to be the masters of their craft and the time to live life. I think that sounds reasonable. So before I go out and buy a fucking food truck for myself and enlist her help, why don't I do one last interview? Relax, I'm not going anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, my guest this evening for the 37th episode of the Coarse Grind Podcast, the founder and chief success driver of Allie Ann & Company, Ms. Allie Walter. Good evening, Ms. Walter.
What the fuck is up, Sean? I'm so stoked to be here.
Excellent.
Hell yeah.
Excellent. You know, I know we were talking before we started rolling. That's kind of pulling the curtain back, a la Wizard of Oz style. But, you know, I read so much of your shit, and I'm like, you and I have a lot in common in that we're not necessarily Epicureans by design, but we're certainly Epicureans by passion.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Oh, totally.
Excellent. So, so I totally wanted to, get you on. Thanks to Keith, again, culinary food cruiser out there in Cali. And, just talk to you about what it is you do, because I think it's such an interesting thing, but I don't want to step too far outside of the realm of the standard format. So I am going to ask you some standard questions, but when we get to the more culinarily geared ones, the creations are going to be clients. So I'm going to give you a bit of a forewarning there. Maybe you can start to pre-formulate, and as we approach those questions, you can jump right into them. So without further ado, Ms. Allie Walter, tell me about where and what and how you grew up eating.
I love that. I remember when Chef Keith was on and he was talking about it, and I was like, this is why we're home skillets. Like, well, actually, I have to caveat before we get rolling on that. Yes, I am getting Fuck the Status Quo t-shirts. So if anybody wants some, y'all just need to hit me up and
this
I
is
can
what's
get you
going to
hooked
happen.
up.
All right. Okay. So you're going to get a CGPC t-shirt for doing the show.
Hell yeah.
It's along the lines of CBGB's. Same font and everything. And I just do Course Grind Podcast. So you're going to be getting one just for doing the show. So we'll talk afterwards about the address. Oh, yeah. But I want a hashtag Fuck the Status Quo shirt then.
Totally, man. Totally. Decent. And actually, even some of my clients, they get, what is it? It's the hashtag Zero Fucks in Food Trucks. And so I can totally hook you up with both of those, man.
Oh, my God. I want one so badly. I want one so badly. So, right on.
Squirrel. I totally squirreled. Okay, so how did I grow up eating? Like, my love? Where's my love? Well, so I actually grew up. My grandma was the typical, the green beans in the can and like meatloaf and spinach and all that kind of stuff. And I grew up like our thing in our family. My main background is German, and it was all like meat and potatoes. Like every single weekend, every Sunday, it was, steak and french fries, steak and baked potato. I didn't even grow up, I don't even remember, aside from canned green beans, having vegetables, really. Right. And my mom, God love her, but she definitely did not have even the slightest culinary, hand. My grandma was pretty decent at most of the stuff she cooked, but, with my mom, it was like hamburger helper and spaghetti and, that type of deal. But I actually flipped the script when I was about, I think, 19 or 20, and I went total pescatarian to where I was only eating fish and veggies, and I stopped eating meat, and my family was like, we don't know what to do with you. Like, what is going on? Like they didn't, and it was like, I now eat like everything opposite of what I grew up on. Yeah. But just the other night, and I was talking to Chef Keith, and I was like, bro, guess what I'm fucking making right now? He's like, what? And I'm like, spaghetti. Because it brings me back to those moments. And if I'm really, really grinding out with my business, I'll get these moments where I just want to sit on the couch with a fuzzy blanket and a nice movie and a big ass bowl of spaghetti. And it just brings me back to those years of just that homemade, nostalgia and just that family essence. And that's what I remember food bringing, into my life.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, to squirrel, if you will, I was in a class at my actual job. This is not my job. I do not make anything off this. Blah, 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 blah. I was in a class on delegation today, and one of the quips that I came out with was that you can never forget where you've been, because if you do, you forget where you are. And I think culinarily, is that not the absolute fucking bottom line to truth? I had a similar, while not identical, upbringing. My mother was very health conscious from early on with the health food store, but at the same time, we weren't really going crazy. And college, it was almost like this revolt, I'm going to take my wife in a town car down to Philadelphia to eat at Morimoto the one night that Morimoto just happened to be there, and did 5 of our 12 omakase courses, standing not 4 feet away from my wife and I.
Oh, wow.
And she went to eat it incorrectly, and Morimoto reaches across the bar and goes, no, you eat it like this. And grabs her hand and puppets her hand. I look at her, I'm like, he's talking to you on how to eat. But anyway, I digress. This is about you, not about me. But it's so true that I think when you come up with that, you almost have to break out of it. Now, you might go back to it. I know plenty of people who did. But then there's you and I who have kind of just hung out and learned and looked at it as an opportunity. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. And it's almost and that's actually the basis for why I think I connect so deeply with my chefs, is because every single one of them, when we're talking about their stories and the reason, the real deep-rooted reasons behind why they do what they do, it always goes back to their younger years. Yep. There's always some kind of a memory that they either want to help recreate for their customers, or they want to build, for within their businesses. But also, up level it to that point. Like a lot of people will be like, you know, just like me, like I grew up with this, you know, home style cooking. And while I made spaghetti the other night, guess what it was? It was the veggie, you know, the noodles or whatever you would call them. And it was, you know, with I eat some meat now, but with, you know, with my pea-based, you know, crumbles. And like it's a healthier version, but it's still a piece of how I grew up in my childhood. And I think that's just what, I love that quote that you said, because that really is the foundation for who we are today, but we just evolve into a being and into creations and desires that just kind of up level, you know, our foundation.
Completely. And, you know, I'll never forget actually doing episode 1. I can't believe this show's been in practice now for over 2 years. I can't get over that. That's crazy to me.
Wow.
But I remember episode number 1, the sweetest of the sweet, Dakota Weiss, who's doing awesome things with Sweet Fin Poke, you know, she's just doing amazing shit. And it was that first question about childhood that hooked her. And since then, I've reviewed pieces of writing for her mom. Like, I've become friends with her mom on Facebook. It's so cool, and it's because of that. So, like, not only is it a culinary thing, but it's just a life thing, man. If you can't connect on that level, you shouldn't be there. And I think a lot of people could look at somebody like you or like I and say, well, they didn't sweat behind a fucking line for 15 years and earn their keep, blah, blah, blah. And I make no qualms about it. I worked on a line doing short order. I worked on a line doing breakfast, lunch for like a summer. That's all I got, man. The other thing I got is a heart that knows where I came from. And I think, you know, you talking about spaghetti, you could hear your voice change when you talked about the spaghetti. How magical is that shit?
Yeah, totally. Like every single year on my birthday, like this is going to sound awful, like I had such an awful upbringing, but every single year on my birthday. No.
Now, wait a minute. Before you're talking about awful things, we were talking about gold leaf shit before we got on this call. Yeah. So I don't want to hear about awful. It's not going to sound awful. Corny, maybe, but go on.
Oh my God. We should, oh my God. Golden leaf hemp in my spaghetti sauce. Oh my God.
There you go.
That's the bomb right there.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
10%.
Thank you. Yeah.
So moving on.
But Ellie, every single year I either crave for my birthday a spaghetti dinner or freaking ramen noodles. Like, it's very strange, but I would used to love, my grandma would make me ramen noodles when she didn't want to cook anything. And it still goes back to that just memory. And yeah, so it's a pretty cool thing. And like you said, like, you know, when I was 15, 16, I was actually part of a club called DECA in high school. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's a business and a marketing competition club. Like in high school, you know, it was the class, but then we did the competitions outside of school. And what did I pick? I picked food and hospitality. My very first, my second job actually was working at KFC. And from there, you know, I went on to be a server. I actually, maybe I shouldn't say anything. I might get them in trouble. But anyways, I might have not been entirely legal just yet to serve. I was on the brink at Joe's Crab Shack.
Yeah, that's not, no, come on.
You know, but my first couple of years, like as an employed teenager, were in the food industry. And, you know, I don't know if it's, I thrive off of chaos. I thrive off of pressure, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And I obviously thrive off of people, but I think it's just the connection surrounding food and the concept of family. And even when you're working in a restaurant, we were all family, you know, as much as like back of the house is fighting with front of the house or whatever. But at the end of the day, like we're still all going out and partying on the freaking Monday night and, you know, rocking out together as one big happy family. That's just what I remember so much about my pull into, you know, the restaurant industry. And it's all the more reason too why I vibe that deeply with my food truckers, because it's an even tighter family, I feel like, within the food truck industry. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. It's just a connecting fiber straight across. Everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs to eat. And so you can either take it on as a task or you can make it something more. And clearly, you've made it something more in your mind and your heart. So, you know, growing up, you mentioned the meat and the potatoes, the spaghetti, and so on. Were you picky when you were exposed to new stuff, or were you adventurous?
Yeah, I was pretty damn picky. I think I remember this one time. I would always look at my grandpa eating the canned cranberries, and I don't know what it was. I mean, going back to all this canned stuff, but canned cranberries freaked me the fuck out.
It's the texture.
Maybe it's the texture. But I remember one night, like him, like putting like a $20 bill on the table and being like, "If you eat this," and I swear I sat there and I stared at it for 20 minutes and I couldn't eat the damn cranberries. Like broccoli, spinach, all that kind of stuff. Like, no. And now that's all I eat. You should have seen the salad I had earlier tonight.
I'm telling you, growing up, all right, I didn't eat eggs at all because of the texture. And to be fair, if you are with me and we are hungover in the bagel shop the morning after, which it sounds like this could be a possibility, but anyway, more on that in a little bit. And I order a breakfast sandwich, I will be the one that holds up the line because I get it with no egg, and I will stand there until no egg is presented on that fucking sandwich because I can't handle it. I can't handle that. I can't handle Jell-O or pudding either.
That's hysterical.
For just that reason. And my kids know it now, too, the little bastards.
No matter what way it's cooked, an egg. Really?
No. Now, see, here's the thing. You take it off the breakfast sandwich, and my wife will tell you, the second greatest thing I did to giving her the 3 boys was create the brown butter omelet that I'm famous for in this house. She comes home from work. I'm like, "What do you want for dinner?" And she literally just has to give me the, "Are you asking me that fucking question? Look." And it's super basic, and I think it is Wolfgang Puck whose interview process in the kitchen is to make him an omelet. And depending on how you make that omelet, you get a job with him. And but anyway, for me, it's the text. I'm a texture, like kudzu jelly, that kind of shit I can't handle. So maybe cranberry canned is that way for you. But, and it's funny because it sounds like some of that pickiness might have come from the, canned action.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I despise a lot of canned things now. But it was just stuff, too, that was like just out of the norm. And, with my mom, like hamburger helper, so God forbid there was something green on the plate aside from green beans. It was like, I don't know what this is. This is a foreign, maybe some iceberg lettuce, with our Caesar salads, but I was like, what the fuck? I don't know. And now, now it's like my salads have, like freaking soybeans and zucchini and just like spinach. I don't even eat, friggin' iceberg anymore. Like it's, the
only way I'll eat iceberg is either on a BLT or as part of an iceberg wedge. Otherwise, it's cellulose. It's basically doing what Gold Leaf will do in our new business plan.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, precisely.
Which, if you're not paying attention to the interview so far, people listening, I'm not going to repeat it. You know what Gold Leaf is for. So now here you are, 25 years old, in the prime of your... Do you see what I did there?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. So... 25 years old, in the prime of your culinary just mission from Gad, to quote Blues Brothers. Now looking back, do you identify somebody in your upbringing as that culinary lightning rod that made you go, wait a minute, or was it you?
That's a great freaking question.
I know. I do this a lot, Allie. I'll be honest.
Holy balls! He got me speechless. That does not happen very often. Wow. Shit.
Because it can be you. I want you to go on record. Because for me, honestly, there were people that like shaped my look at food, but I'm the one that drove my fucking bus to 37 episodes of a podcast, and I have to kind of be okay admitting that. So either way, you tell me. I was kind of experimenting a little bit with like healthier foods as I got a little bit older, but what I remember is the turning point just being that food is how you feel, or you feel how you eat. Mm-hmm. And I remember I was working on at a bar on Clearwater Beach here in Florida, and in my early 20s, I was like, oh, it's thundering here. Holy crap. And so I was like, I think I was 19 then.
And I had gotten a little bit overweight just coming out of college, or going into college and trying to come out of, figuring out who you are and all the partying and all that kind of stuff. And I was working at the bar, and I don't know, I just remember one day looking at all the people around me in the restaurant and how unhealthy we all were when at the core of our bodies and how we felt and our energy and all that, and kind of relating that back to my family and also some of the health issues and stuff like that. And fuck the status quo. It made me fuck that. I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to look this way anymore. I don't, and I started, just watching more of the cooking shows and just really, I think, feeling into the concept of playing with flavors, but true nutritional flavors, and ingredients and organic and all that kind of stuff. Not just because of when you combine them, what they can create, but then how they make you feel and what they do for your body. And with that flip of the switch, granted, the whole meat thing was obviously an issue too, or a concept too, but I was like, I'm not going to, eat like this anymore. And at that day, I remember at the restaurant asking one of the cooks on the line and being like, yo, can you chop me up some green pepper? And I had never before that day put green pepper in my mouth. Mm-hmm. And I remember freaking sitting there dipping green pepper into ranch and be like, this is actually really good. And everything changed from there. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unfortunate because, again, the status quo that needs to be thoroughly fucked tends to center around food of convenience, food of quickness, food of rapidity, and so on. And it's when we slow down. My wife, prime example, my wife is one of the hardest working, most intelligent women in the world I know. She'll listen to this, she'll hear this, so there you go. Aww. You're welcome.
See what I did there?
She's actually episode number 8, so you should check it out. But with that said, she'll go through a week of just going through hell and back, literally to the fires of hell and back, and it's on the weekend when she stops moving feet-wise and stands over our newly remodeled kitchen's butcher block island and just cooks and just exists, that the happiness exudes. And so, food of convenience is only convenient because we make it so.
Yeah, totally.
We're focusing on the wrong thing entirely. And the fact that you had that breakthrough and here you are today, that's unbelievable.
Totally.
Unbelievable.
And I think that's also why I absolutely fucking adore the food truck industry and where it's going now, because when I was hardcore pescatarian, and even to a point where I didn't even want to eat fish, I'd gone that way for probably about a year. I struggled so much to get nutrition, on the road or when I was out doing a lot of shit, because there was just such a lack of really good, healthy food, mainstream, fast food wise. And now with the food truck industry, this is not the whole, concept of the greasy spoon and all that, the way it used to be, 10, 15 years ago. These are legit, whether they have degrees or not, or they just, it's just how they were brought up and how they're able to, to me, chefs are just magical in themselves. I can make okay food, but holy balls. Just some things that these guys can make and you put that on a food truck and now you're able to serve people at that convenience, not only with gourmet food, but I also have clients, that are very much in that vegan, the smoothie space, the really healthy, nutritional food, and, putting that on a food truck and being able to serve the masses in the convenience is oh my gosh, I'm just so excited because now I see the opportunities that we're able to give people like me, now that's their goals and they want that for their families, and now we can help them, just even like Chef Keith. Yeah, he's got some burgers that aren't so healthy for you, but at the end of the day, he focuses a lot on vegan and vegetarian, dishes, and his Brussels sprouts are out of this world.
Yes.
And, you can make really good, healthy food quick and convenient. And the chefs now finally are, stepping into that. And the market is just being like, hell yes, give us more. And I'm so excited for that.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things. And obviously, that's part of the reason I have you on, is to break that food truck, stereotype down, episode 11, I have no idea why I can remember every guest and their number, but it was episode 11, Lisa Fernandez from Top Chef, season 3, if I recall correctly. She has the Sweet Chili NYC food truck up in New York. And that's where I really got a crash course in it. And when I'm listening to this, I'm like, where is the downfall to this? There is no downfall to this. Everything sounds good. Everything sounds amazing. It's portable. It's smaller scale. Aren't we doing that with technology?
Right.
So why the fuck wouldn't we do that with something as existentially necessary as food?
Yeah, totally.
So,
but it just takes the people to be like, fuck the status quo, right? Fuck the majority. Like, this is how I want to do it, and this is why I want to do it, and this is why it's important, and I'm just going to freaking roll with it, and look at that,
Yeah, and now food trucks are a force to be reckoned with.
Hell yeah.
Without question, and it's because of people like you, and it's like you don't necessarily have to lean hard on a culinary background to appreciate what they're doing, because you know what? Let them do the culinary. There's plenty of other aspects. If you've ever worked in the restaurant industry, there's fucking 10,000 other things to do. And that's where somebody like you comes in for the food truck. Somebody like me comes in for the publicity angle,
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and the other part that's my favorite is, I really niched down after I worked with my first food truck client, and I just saw the need in the marketplace. And I also saw a lot of similarities, obviously, growing up working in restaurants, but I even saw similarities, to the asphalt company that I'd run in terms of how freaking hard it is, the feast or famine cycle, the day in, day out, being your body, your mind being pushed to the absolute physical extremes, and then still trying to figure out how to actually build the business overnight. And I decided at that point that I was really going to hardcore focus on the food truck market because I could really help these guys in it. And they did not deserve to go have start a business that they thought was going to give them financial freedom and just freedom in general, instead of, being stuck working from somebody else and making them rich off their food. Right. But then they get stuck in that cycle, that catch-22 of just being overworked, underpaid, and still not having the freedom that they wanted. So I wanted to focus on that. But now, as my business continues to grow, I'm now working with restaurant owners to where, because I understand a food truck, which in itself, like, you want to talk about the whole fucking 10xing shit, like, take how hard a restaurant is and then 10x that fucking shit. That's a damn food truck, right? And so now I'm also, though, able to help restaurant owners who want to expand in other markets and don't want to have to, fork out boatloads of capital for an additional, brick and mortar investment. Guess what? A food truck is the perfect route for brand exposure and to be able to get into a new market, build up your tribe, and then build your brick and mortar. And like, I was just out in LA speaking at an event and hanging out with some of my friends last week, and now I can't even remember what the hell that restaurant is called. I think it was called True Food? I don't know if that sounds familiar. But oh my God, my mouth was like salivating. The food was so fast, but it was so good, and it was all organic, mainly raised meat, but it was just out of this world good. And I'm like, this is the kind of stuff that we can now be able to leverage mainstream, and I can help restaurant owners like this even break into bigger markets, through the food trucks.
And see, that's really the thing I wanted to talk to you specifically about, because I think, I want to say it was Bourdain, might have been Ramsey, I'm not sure which, but one of the two of them writes that 80% of new restaurant ventures fail within the first 2 years because of finance, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And so the food truck industry, like, how does that not appeal? Like, I think people are being kind of like shitty purists about it to a degree. And at the same time, like, just thick-headed. Like, how do you not see the benefit behind this approach to making your culinary dream come true?
I'm going to challenge you on that, actually.
Sure.
To me, I see it as being total equal risks on both sides of the coin.
Okay.
It depends on where the circumstances, where you're at here and now, but also your longer term goals for the business you have. Because with a food truck, you have to be so fucking lean with your model, and you have to be so strategic about how you're operating the business and your efficiencies and all that. Because unlike a restaurant who can be open, 5, 6, 7 days a week and really build up a consistent following, a food truck might have that following, but guess what? They go out to an event and it freaking, lets down, cats and dogs, and they are out several $1,000s worth of food if they don't have, another gig booked for another week. So there's a lot of risk on the same account. Yeah, the funding requirements to step into owning a food truck can be less than a brick and mortar, although I will also say that is also a false or an illusion with a lot of people for multiple reasons. Sure. But the risk level can be much higher because of just the fact of, it's a mobile business on wheels. And even with the asphalt company, that's why I saw the similarities, because we would have our asphalt was anywhere from $80 to $130 a ton. Our dump truck, you have 20 tons of asphalt on the truck at that amount of money. And if the truck breaks down, if it starts pouring, if your lime rock's anywhere close to being wet, you lose that entire load. And there's so many things that you cannot control. You just have to have a really super, I call it, strong offensive strategy to make the business work well for you. So yeah, it's a toss up, honestly, man. So
that is exactly why I wanted you on this show, to clear up all the mysteries. Because honestly, think about how easy it could be for the layperson to look and go, oh, well, they're not really a restaurant. And I've heard people say that about food trucks in this very area. I'm from central Pennsylvania, okay? And people still look at food trucks as, quote, not quite restaurants. What do you say to them? What's your retort?
I like questions. Questions help people answer their own questions, or just make them, feel retarded, and they do it to themselves. So, and I always say that. I always say retarded. And I do not call, disabled people, I don't say that, but that just flies out of my
I'm picking up
mouth.
what you're putting down. No worries.
Oh my God. I did that at an event this last week, and I looked around the room and I was like, fuck, that was an alley. I just pulled an alley. Insert mouth, foot in mouth. But, my question, it would just be, I just look at them and be like, why? Let them answer their own damn question. And they're like, well, blah, 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 and they kind of start tripping over their things. A lot of people will, at the end of the day, say, well, there's nowhere to sit down. Well, okay, I'll give you that. Well, some of the festivals and the gigs, they give you seating areas, but isn't, the purpose of going and using a transaction of giving money for food, and it's still the experience that you're, connecting with that chef and that team and being able to eat, their food. How is that any different? Yes. You know what I mean? So
I want to sit down. I want to have dinner. I'll do it in a fucking room with cloth napkins. All right. Other than that, let me go about my business and consume.
Yeah, exactly. It's a meal. You're still shoving food in your face. Why does it matter how you're doing it? Sit on the damn ground in the freaking grass, get rooted with nature, and just shut your damn mouth.
And that's it too. And that's when those moments are the moments that I've found the truest bonds with other human beings. It's here we are sitting on the ground, sitting on a curb. Cavemen didn't have curbs. I digress. But everybody. And actually, Isaac Toops, last episode, brought up the whole concept of which brave motherfucker was it that cracked open an oyster and said, that looks tasty? Who
totally.
was it? And I'll bet it was 3 or 4 cave dudes, cave ladies huddled around this thing going, no, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it, bro. And somebody doesn't and went, bro, okay, bro, I'll do it again. There's a bunch of them in the water. It's a social thing. Stop being such... I love turning to people. Our dear friend Gary Vatican, chef owner of Seasons on Main here in Bloomsburg, episode 4, by the way. See that? Numbers. I don't know why. The couple, not the last dinner we had there, but one before that. There was this table of 4 people just loving life. They were, maybe a little older than my wife and I, and they were just loving life. And, my wife and I are eating, talking and everything, and I just turned at one point, I'm like, how the hell are you guys doing this evening? There wasn't even a hesitation. Now, the wine probably helped that conversation lube, if you will. But instantly, these guys are tuned in. We're pushing our tables together, and this is not like a low-end restaurant. This is a very high-end restaurant. And yet, here we were, just having a good time. And from there, we all, the 6 of us, went out, grabbed drinks at another place, grabbed drinks at another place. It's a social thing, man. And so I think food trucks, more than restaurants, enable that. Yeah,
totally. And that's why a lot of folks follow so loyally, the food truck. I don't even, it's not like people used to call it the food truck movement. Oh, it's really, no, it's been an industry for a long time. It's just been growing more in an accelerated fashion the last couple of years now, because people are finally seeing, hey, we can make really good high-level gourmet or just really bomb-ass food and not have to be like the fried chicken, like the construction food trucks, oh my God, it irritates the piss out of me, like the whole concept of the roach coaches years ago, right? I mean, let me just caveat, food trucks are under so much scrutiny for that very reason, that they are actually cleaner than restaurants, because they have such high restrictions and regulations from the local government. So let's just lay that on the table right now. But anyways, I digress as well. It's the food truck. It's really all about that experience. And my guys that are extremely successful at what they do, it's because we've helped them understand how to create an experience for their fans beyond just the food, though, and even for their clients in how they're serving the fans at the gigs, or the private, events or whatever. It's all about that experience. And you go back to, the social, the social concept of it, but it's just fucking rad, being able to pull up with this cool ass truck, in this itty bitty kitchen, and you get in your hands. Now it's I just see it as, talk about golden shit, this unicorn thing, beaming with light, and you just look at it and I will just sit there. I remember I think it was a month or so ago, I got to go out to, I work internationally. I have people from all over the world, coming to me, even folks in Thailand a couple weeks ago. But one of my clients here in Tampa, he's a grilled cheese truck. And you want to talk about upbringing? Me and grilled cheese, we have a whole new level of a relationship. My mom and I, we can get down with some grilled cheese. Yes. And he is Mr. C's Grilled Cheese here in Tampa. If y'all are in Tampa, y'all definitely need to check him out. But I just remember getting this sandwich in this boat, and I didn't care about where I was sitting. I didn't care that there was thousands of people there. I just remember staring at it and just being I am so excited to eat this, but at the same time, just the experience of being surrounded by the energy of the people, of the event, of all these chefs just cranking their hearts out to serve the masses. It's just a really cool experience. So, and I think that's why the food truck industry is just, is a really neat business all in itself. And the people that like to follow the food trucks, that's the reason why it connects them on that deeper level.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Here's my take on it has been this whole food truck re-movement, because yes, they existed, the whole quote-unquote roach coach, as you said, but that whole thing is gone. I think we're looking at it as a serious platform. I look at it as almost the Amazoning of dining.
That's a really neat perspective.
We're knocking down the brick and mortar. You don't go to Barnes & Nobles for a fucking book anymore. Be square. Be square.
Totally.
What do? You order online. How do you order it online? Mobily. Where does the food truck go? Mobile.
Totally.
There you go.
Well, now there's a shit ton of apps, and that's one of the directions that a lot of the, find your food truck apps are going in terms of online ordering and you being able to go up to the truck and just get your food that you've already ordered and paid for. And actually my mentor, one of the things that I help my clients on, but also because I've been taught the value behind understanding your why. And it's not just like the why of like, I like to cook really good food to bring people together and all that. Like for me, the deeper why is rooted in the trickle down effect of I can now help people have better lives and actually make money, but at the same time make money and be able to utilize that money to live better, to enjoy life, to enjoy their family and not be fucking stressed the hell out or feel like they need to work 50 years and then maybe get, a nice couple weeks off.
Yeah.
And so it's not just that for me though. It's the trickle down effect of just by, if I can help one business be better at what they do and scale and grow and be better leaders, then they get to provide jobs for other people who may have not had other opportunities and what that can do for their kids who may have not been able to, go to college, and just that trickle down effect. I go even deeper now in realizing that my true goal is to be able to provide second chances for people. Number one, in breaking the poverty cycle, I'm building out some programs to where when people become clients of mine, a certain percentage of those programs go into helping create, the urban gardens and the farming to be able to help not only kids in impoverished areas learn skills, but also be able to create something, because I believe our society, it's going, as much as technology is needed, we're also going the wrong direction in terms of how we need to sustain ourselves, completely. Right, in terms of, nature. Completely. But on the same account, those kids who now potentially they're in gangs, maybe they've been incarcerated, they've made some mistakes in their lives, I want to also be able to build out fleets and franchises of food trucks and restaurants that goes behind the whole renegade movement, giving them a second chance to where when you have a felony or a misdemeanor on your name, you are restricted into what you can do. So if I can give you education resources and you have to prove your fucking worth to me, but now you could potentially have buy-in and work your way up into owning your own business. Yep. Where before you couldn't even get a damn job at McDonald's because of, maybe a mistake you made 15 years ago. So for me, that's why I get really excited about my deeper why. Yeah. And now with my clients, it's like I can help them, see and understand that. And even within like the food truck, I guess you could say the space of being like, these are all misfits by rights of who they are and what they do. And now we can band together as a colony or a family of misfits and being able to really provide, good for the world, for, second chances for people. And now I just totally squirreled. I lost my train of thought.
No. Believe me. And I'm sitting here half welling up, and I have to share with you why. So first of all, the culinary scene has always been the last bastion of the bastard children of the world.
Totally.
Like, you get the misfit toys, and that's part of what I love. About 37 episodes in, you'll never find a fucking carbon copy of an episode of this show.
Totally.
And there's good reason for that. And speaking of, the impoverished and so on, Josie Malave literally just hit me up. Her new restaurant hit, and she's ready. There's no official word right now. I'm sorry, I'm dropping it now as a teaser on June 2nd. And she's talking about bringing me out to the opening. Like, who the fuck am I? But here she is doing the whole global soul chef movement and looking at, poverty and all these things, all these indicators. Our dear friend Gary, again, is working with a local grocery chain on the Ugly Produce program.
Oh my God, I need to get produce fucking hooked up with these people. Dude, oh my God, we can do some
you have it.
Shit together.
Trust me on this, because I hooked up Gary and Josie. Josie was obviously from season 1 of Top Chef. Mm-hmm. And then, Gary's my dear friend. Gary, he, I'd like to make up a story. He used to cook on private jets. That's his thing. Yeah, he's doing that with the local. And the other night when we went in and had dinner, he's like, I'd like to open the restaurant up one night, I don't know, every 2 weeks, a month, and just let the homeless have a sit-down dinner.
Yeah, oh my God.
And yeah. I said to him, and I swear, and here we go, I'm going on record with it right now, Gary, I will work the goddamn line for you that night for free. No question. No question. And I know 2-3 other people that would do the same. So we're
rad.
In it. So we will absolutely do the whole networking gig. But you know, squirrel as you may, and I love that because I squirrel as well. You know,
where was I going with that point? I don't even know. But
this is here's the tie back. This is why you and I are in a culinary interest while we're not necessarily veterans. Because we identify the cultural, existential significance of doing so.
Totally,
You
yeah.
know,
oh my God,
mine
dude.
is just a show, dude. You're actually doing it. Mine is like a, hey, you want to talk on the phone to me?
Dude, don't discount what you do, because guess what? Just by rights of now you having me on, now look at potentially one person who's listening to this, who's struggling in their business. Maybe they're making some decent sales, but at the same time, they're like, holy fuck, I don't want to have to work this hard for the next 10 years just to make this amount of money. And if I could help just that one person, imagine what they could do now for their family. Or imagine what they could do for those 3 other people that they can hire when, you know, their business is doing better. And what those other 3 people can do for somebody else. Like, the trickle-down effect is fucking massive, dude. And even just the fact of, like, now we've been able to open up this conversation of what other people are doing. And I can now connect to other people. Because to me, my mom and my grandfather, I grew up in, they were high-level, you know, the C-suite and nonprofit agencies. So where I get the nonprofit world, and I've built nonprofits myself. I don't want to recreate the wheel. That's the whole purpose of why I do what I do, Profit Boss, you know, hacking and shit. Because if somebody's already doing something, join forces with them or just learn the way that they're doing it so you can accelerate your results.
That's it.
I don't want to fucking recreate, you know, a nonprofit or whatever, like social enterprise. That's what I want to be building into my business and leveraging people who are already doing things that now as joined forces, we can create some bomb ass shit together. So my man, you're like the house to this. And now you can, you know, web out these different resources, and that's pretty fucking rad. So don't discount yourself.
That'd be terrific. And, you know, I oftentimes get a little too humble, according to other people, not to myself, you know, about the show. But 37 episodes and some pretty significant world players, you know, it's like, okay, maybe this is a little bit of something. But just the fact that I'm talking now this will be 3 people about, you know, poverty and how do we eliminate it. I mean, obviously, this is not a short-term relationship, Ms. Walter. We determined that when we were talking about golden shit earlier. It was all bets are off. We're back to the golden shit.
Golden shit, baby.
So folks who listen to the show, you obviously realize this is off the rails mains wise, and that's cool, you know, because I think being aware that there are players like this, you know, players like a podcast host or this dynamo in the food truck industry in Ali Walter, you know, we're not culinarily trained. We don't come from it, but you don't have to look down your nose at us. We're here to support you. I think that's a fair statement.
Totally.
Right on.
Yeah, totally.
Right on.
Yeah.
So,
and you know what?
What's
and
that?
that's even the reason why too, when Chef Keith approached me, and like that whole story in itself is just, it's fucking hysterical, because he was one of those haters in the beginning. It was like, how the fuck can you know how to run a food truck if you've never run a food truck? I'm like, well, I did it with an asphalt company. I did it, you know, with an auto repair shop. I did it with an e-com, like all this shit. And after he started to get to know me, and he was like, Ali, I want to be a part of this. I see what you're doing and I want to help. And that's where, after a couple times of him approaching me, I'm like, you know what? Yes, you know, I'm going to bring you on and you can help my clients, because I saw that from that culinary aspect, he can help my guys in my program and in my mastermind. You know, when they're struggling, like just the other week, somebody was talking about a certain way to do chicken, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. But it was so helpful because, you know, Chef Keith was able to support them on that level. And so that, to me, is the whole concept behind Alliann and Company. That's why I built the consulting firm, to say this is all about leveraging resources and partnerships to accelerate where you need to go with your business and your life. And from my perspective, and going back to the whole, you know, the food industry and the misfits, I may look like I can rock a suit and some heels and pearls all day long. But if we actually have a few drinks, I will tell you about some of the shit that I've had go down in my life, and your jaw, I'm going to probably have to manually close your mouth, because I have been to rock bottom more than once, and I've also always felt displaced. I always felt like the misfit. I never really felt at home or accepted, and I could never figure out why. And that's part of the reason why I built this company and my mastermind and this crew, so that the misfits of business can not only do better with their businesses, but also finally feel at home and finally have a fucking family of entrepreneurs that they either are, aspire to be, or that motivate them and push them to be better than they are right now. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. All the money in the world doesn't matter, but connection, that's what matters. And I want my guys to feel at home, and I finally feel at home with them. So, yeah.
I just told my current intern, Rachel, that you follow the right position, you follow the right opportunity, the money will come after.
Yeah.
You've got to believe that, man. You can't, the money doesn't mean shit. You can't bury yourself with money.
Yep.
That's not going to happen. You've got to love what you do and appreciate what you do. And I think, now that you've kind of, I won't even say stroke my ego, because it wasn't a stroking of the ego. It was a centering of my appreciative compass of what I'm doing right now. I realized, I'm like, no, there is a purpose to this show, and there's a reason why I take the few hours that I have during the week to do pre-production, to do the interview, to do production, because if there's one listener, like you said, Allie, if there's one listener that changes their stance on maybe their interest, maybe, should I go to culinary school or no? Yes, go. If it changes one person, how valuable is that?
Yeah. One life. That gives me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Right.
And I used to be a middle school, high school English teacher, so I've already been there. I say fuck too much to really teach kids. Apparently, that's what the lawyer said. So,
oh my God.
Yeah. In any case, so. Man, I tell you what, man, you are a force to be reckoned with, and you, for the first time in 37 episodes, literally, there's not a mains question that was asked tonight. I'm putting a big red X through the section. I'm like, no, not tonight, mains. We're just talking food. But that does not mean that you are immune or absolved away from the afters. And that's what we're going to go to. We're going to lighten it up a little bit. We're all existential. Starving children. Wow, oh my God. Next thing I need is Sarah McLachlan singing, "In the Arms of an Angel," and looking at cats with snot in their eye. Awesome. Speaking of, did you see that my kids got a kitten?
Oh my God. I kept looking. I'm like, outside kitten. I want to squish you. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Yeah, well, that's my wife's position on it. And that's losing footing fast. Let's put it that way.
Dear.
So anyway, so you are not getting out of the afters, because I have a feeling these answers will be significantly more different and interesting than ever before.
Bring it. Bring it, baby.
With nothing more being said, I am standing in your kitchen where you might be cooking spaghetti or ramen. I'm not sure what. What music do I hear?
Oh, house music, electronic.
EDM. Oh my God. Yeah. Marco Zavala, if you're listening, man, do I got somebody for you?
Hell yeah. My boy Alex, he was just actually at Lightning in a Bottle out in California, if you've ever heard of that. Yeah. But, that's totally some of my... I mean, I like all kinds of music, but that just... It's the vibe and just, the place in your mind it puts you in, and I love it. So
we went to see Guetta at the Borgata in Jersey, I want to say 2010, I think. 2010. Fucking unbelievable. I've always had a soft spot in my heart for techno. But EDM Mark, our surrogate uncle to the kids, holy hell. He shows up to the golf tournament I host every year with a portable speaker. Just the whole 18 holes.
I love it.
All right.
I love it.
I can golf to this. I would ask the next question, but I have a feeling this interview might be kind of the litmus strip for it, but how's your mouth when you're cooking? Same way when you're being interviewed, Allie?
That is the best question ever. Fucking ever.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Actually, I think it's opposite of when I'm being interviewed. I think I'm probably like biting my fucking lip going, fuck, I just put too much, salt in that. Fuck, I think I put too much jalapeno in that. I'm not going to be able to eat this son of a bitch. Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a fine line too. Like I always feel the need to explain. My wife actually interviewed me for episode number 20 of the show. So the table was turned. We did it by the beach in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And she asked me that, and I'm like, listen, I feel the need to delineate two answers here. One, when the kids are around, I'm a fucking Disney movie. Let's be honest. Beyond that, I'm half like stabbing the cupboard, yelling and gritting through my teeth at people. So
totally. Yeah. Well, I will say this. And if anybody does follow me, like, on social media, I call it, and I wish you could see the way I'm using my hand right now. This face
that sounded filthy.
This face is an emoji. So just consider the Allie-isms, like, fucking cooking, like, every expression 10x. Every expression 10 fucking x.
Okay.
One big happy emoji. Yeah. Totally.
So just as an aside, folks who are listening, if you wanted to follow Allie on social media, obviously, Allie Walter on Facebook. Do you do the Instagram?
I do, and so Allie ALI on Facebook, but then on Instagram it's Allie Ann Walter. So yeah, the IG, the Twitter, and on Twitter I think it's Allie Ann and Company. It's ALIANN Co. Kind of got a little bit of a mix going on.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's called variety. That's called diversification.
It is.
So, next question, and I am dying to hear this one.
Oh, dear.
You're going to be stranded on... So stop it. You've listened to the show before. You knew this was coming.
I know.
How dare you?
I wasn't thinking about it, though.
You're going to be on a deserted island. 3 foods or food-type items, and go.
Brussels sprouts? Fuck. See, I totally wasn't thinking about this.
Allie.
Oh, I can bring fuck, can I? Brussels sprouts, jalapeno Tabasco sauce, and avocado.
Man.
What?
Because you could catch fish, technically.
Ooh, and I could put my jalapeno. I could. I totally could do that.
See, I'm already thinking of it. So, but again, just to be sure, Brussels sprouts, the
green Tabasco.
Green
the
Tabasco.
Jalapeno, jalapeno Tabasco. Yeah,
which is
an
amazing.
Avocado.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty fucking delicious right there.
Oh my god! Have you ever had jalapeno Tabasco on avocados?
Oh my god! Yes, I've had avocados on jalapeno Tabasco.
Oh my god!
So it's backwards. It's crazy, right?
Totally.
I did. Is there any food in this world that absolutely horrifies you to this day? Like, is there a food you haven't been able to get over?
Oh, I don't even remember what it's called. The bug, the things, like, I don't even know where, is it Thailand, somewhere in Asia, like the fried bugs and things on sticks and things, like, oh my fucking god.
Nah, too
Makes
much?
me gag.
Too much?
Yeah, too much.
You can't do the whole insect protein?
This is totally making me gag.
Really?
No, it's so gross.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, no. So much no.
All right, we'll take it. Inside. I mean, keeping in mind, that hasn't exactly hit the mainstream yet, so we can be somewhat forgiving, I think.
Maybe.
But
maybe. So nasty.
So, super duper duper deep question. Have you read, well, this is not the deep question. Have you read My Last Supper, Melanie Denea?
I have not.
Wow!
I
Wow!
know.
Oh my god. If I had put bets on doing 37 episodes and how many chefs and food people would never have seen this book, it would have been a real low number. But wow! Okay, so Melanie Denea, Dunea, partly responsible for the format of this podcast, not tonight, but other times, in that it's a pre-formatted set of questions, and we just kind of adhere to it. So she did a coffee table book. She did 2, technically. The next course was a follow-up, and it was 50 famous chefs asked the same 5 questions.
Oh, I love it.
About their last meal.
Oh, I love it.
Who would be there? What would you eat? What would you drink? What music would be playing? So, without further ado, Allie, I ask you. You're shipping out in the morning. What's your last meal? Who's it with?
Gotta go back to the spaghetti. It's my spaghetti, home cooked my way now. And probably with a side of Brussels sprouts. Definitely with some fucking chocolate cake. Oh, gotta have the chocolate cake. Probably some brownies and some cookies with that too. Who would be there? My mom, absolutely. My dogs. I'd probably be eating out at the barn with my horse. Everybody there. And right now in my life, some really special people that have made some immense impacts. My girl Vicky, she's my best friend, my soul sister, and my boy Alex. He's fucking amazing at what he does, and we have a really, really deep connection. Like intellectually, it's very strange how you just can meet people that are just at your level. It's in so many different ways, like the dichotomy of my personality, but at the same time really challenges you. So I would say it's those guys, and shit. Yeah, that's who I'd want to be there, and that's the kind of food that I'd want to be eating. So
how about music on the way out?
Oh, totally my house electronic. Yeah.
House.
Yeah.
And how about the send-off cocktail?
Ooh.
When they toast you, when they say, "We hereby commit," you.
I'm totally the tequila girl. Skinny Rita. Agave nectar. Some fucking, yeah, totally. Margarita, baby.
Awesome.
I don't know how that would go with spaghetti and chocolate.
Who gives a shit? You're not going to be there the next day to talk about it.
That's true, yeah. So, yep.
And finally, the last question, the simplest and yet the most complicated, as every guest has verified for me thus far, in their fuck reaction. Food to you in a single word.
Love.
Add the majority of the world's most culinary experts. Love.
Yeah?
Yeah. That was mine. That was my wife's. Listen to me. Oh, we're the culinary experts. Fuck no, Fraser. No. I digress. Yeah, but that's probably between love and everything.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
I mean,
it's like because it's not just love for love with people and the social. It's like love for yourself and your body. Like it's the root of like how you live. Like you got to love yourself and feed yourself right. But yeah, I mean I was just about to say it is fucking everything.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn cool. That's cool, man.
Well, it is, man. It absolutely is. It's what everybody needs to do to survive, and it's when we bypass that mechanical insert food, extract calories.
Yeah.
That mentality that, okay, enough.
Totally.
Let's look at it as something more. And clearly, Ms. Allie Walter, it's been such a pleasure. You do that. You do that beyond most people I know. And it's been an absolute surreal, almost, honor to talk to you this evening.
Well, thank you. And likewise. I mean, I knew that we had some kind of a connection, and then when the Golden Shits came out, it was like, this is one of my homeboys.
Well, when you're talking about Golden Shits, what's not to like?
Fuck yes.
Oh my
God.
Fuck
yes.
So,
well, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
I really appreciate this.
Absolutely. On the way out, anything you're plugging, anybody you're plugging. Like I said, I think this is more long-standing than not. So,
oh fuck yeah! Well, you're in Philly. Wait, you're in Pennsylvania. My cousins actually live out there, but I actually have a whole little crew of my clients up there. You need to go see the Happy Pita, Mom Pa's Tex-Mex Barbecue, the Flying Pie Guy, and Big Nay's Barbecue. Like those guys are all up in the Philly, New Jersey, New York markets. So if you're out and about, definitely go check them out. And I just got love for all my guys all across the country. But I think my biggest plug would be, if you're a chef right now who's working on a business plan to either launch a food truck or a restaurant, or you're already a food truck or restaurant owner, and you want to learn how to have a highly profitable business in this market that typically is super high risk, super low profit margin, fucking talk to me. Because I'm a profit boss. That's the whole reason why they call me that. And I'm going to help you figure out the exact model and the exact ways to not only have a business that makes you a lot of money, but allows you to step away at your leisure to go live life, take vacations, be with your significant other. And it's at the end of the day so that you can be a better provider and actually be able to live life. So hit me up on social media, and we'll talk about what your goals are, if we're a right fit to work with each other. I don't work with a lot of people. I'm very picky at it, but if you got my kind of vibe and we mesh well and I can help you with your business, then I absolutely will want to help you. So just hit me up and we'll chat.
You heard it here, people. Ladies and gentlemen, Allie Walter, episode 37, AllieAnn.com, Allieann and Company, Allieann Walter on Instagram, Allie Walter on Facebook, Allieann Co. on Twitter. I'm looking at it right now. One of the biggest movers, shakers in the food truck industry today. You need to be following her. If you're in a food truck, you're looking how to make that food truck work better, get in touch with her today. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what else to say, but thank you. You are a dynamo, you are a force, and I look forward to personally working with you.
Fuck yes, man. It was a pleasure. And thank you for doing what you do. You are a rock star.
Right on.
Golden shits and out.
I'll give myself some claps. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode number 37 of the Coarse Grind Podcast. My guest, Allie Walter, AllieAnn.com, AllieAnn.com. My producer, as always, has been the lovely, voluptuous Reverend Johnny Lamoria, a.k.a. Johnny Leland Robinson. Check out his Cinematic Pig's Feet podcast, as well as his new movie in production, The Second Judgment. Next episode is going to be 38. Do not miss it. It's going to be killer.